Gather around. It's time for the show to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, this is...
Hey everyone, my name is Jason.
Hi friends, it's Desiree Josen.
Alright, there were so many matches this year that were just too much.
So this won't be a shocker because we've had a handful of really awesome matches that we just can't stop talking about.
How many times have these guys fought? Like it's been quite a bit.
I've been saying this all year. They're just so great to watch. We saw the heel turn coming, and then when it happened, nice and bloody, both dramatic and beautiful.
You are now entering the ring with Shoots and Ladders podcast.
Shoots and Ladders, AEW Spotlight, Jon Moxley. What's going on, everyone? My name is Jason.
Hey friends, how's it going? It's Desiree Josen.
Okay, we've actually mentioned on this podcast many times before that Jon Moxley is leading the charge. He's obviously the champion for the foreseeable future. He's going to be the one in front of everyone. He's either going to be the champion or chasing the title, and he's going to be the star. We decided to put a spotlight on him today. What are your initial thoughts, Des?
I am a huge fan of Jon Moxley. I've always been. There's just something about him that makes good TV. He's a good wrestler, but I think it's because I like him personally too, and his story. So I have a personal connection as a fan with him. So everything he does, I absolutely love. So this is going to be such a fun episode.
Yeah, I totally agree. One thing I can definitely say about Jon Moxley, which I'm glad we're doing a spotlight on him, is he's fearless. Yes. And he's fearless on the mic. He's fearless in matches. He has no problem putting his body on the line. He has no problem of speaking his mind. I think that's why they're kind of letting him run in front. And yeah, we are actually going to list a couple different things that stand out to us. But the first thing we're going to talk about is let's compare his career of AEW in comparison to WWE. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's comparable and it's not, just because Dean Ambrose and Jon Moxley are not the same person. I feel like Dean Ambrose was always the PG version, and Mox was always the character and always the person that he wanted to be as a wrestler. Obviously, there are some creative restraints at the other promotion where he didn't have that freedom to do what he wanted to do and what he wanted to really say. So I'm sure that was a lot to do with, him jumping ship. Now, it doesn't discredit him as a wrestler there just because he was successful as a member of the Shield, and he held a title every year. I think he's held a title even from 2014 to 2024. He's held at least a title every year. So he's very successful and loved by many. And I know a lot of people prefer him as Dean, and, sometimes we're like, ooh, wouldn't it be fun to see him, surprise us, but yeah, who knows? But I'm a fan either way, but I prefer Mox because he is just uncensored. I feel like he is his true self, and he shines in this company.
Yeah. So this one is an interesting topic. I know we were talking about it earlier this week, but he was successful in both. And he is successful in both. So it's kind of hard to say. Like, if he were to jump ship back to WWE, the crowd would absolutely go nuts. He would be in the world title picture ASAP. So he's obviously had success at both. I kind of agree with what you're saying. As far as Mox is a little bit more of a leader, he didn't have that type of creative freedom in WWE. That's why towards the end, he was basically kind of jobbed out. And they wanted him to stay, but he's like, no, I can't do it if I'm just going to be restricted. So he decided to kind of be his own man with AEW. I think they give him the reins. He's allowed to say what he wants. If I had to guess, he probably has a lot of creative control in his character. He's allowed to kind of like write storylines and such himself. So, his legacy is pretty solidified in both. But to a degree, you could argue that there's a little bit more in AEW just because he has that type of freedom.
Yeah, I think that Tony and the creative team have a lot of trust in him just because of his experience and his background and how successful he is. And I'm sure he comes in with a lot of confidence in himself, saying, this is who I am, this is who my character is going to be, and just believe me, the audience is going to love it. And he's 100% right. Everything that he's done, sometimes it's a little questionable. Sometimes you're like, what is he doing? But it works. And I respect him for really standing his ground as protecting his character. And sometimes I feel like there's a cross between John Good and Jon Moxley sometimes, where I'm like, you're just a crazy guy and who just doesn't give a shit. And I love it.
Well said. I think a lot of fans agree with you. All right. That being said, what are some standout matches to you?
There's one, and I think it's just because the audience didn't expect it or how quickly it was, and just even the commentary behind it. But it was a match on Dynamite. It was from a couple of years ago in August against CM Punk for the Undisputed World Championship. Like, Punk goes in, hurts his leg after like one strike, and Mox just beats the hell out of him. Like, goes after that leg. He hits him with like a really hard lariat and then a few more punches. And then he pins him. This was literally a 5-minute match. No blood, which is very unmox. And he wins and the crowd goes crazy, but we're like, what just happened? It just started. But what my favorite part was commentary where I think it was Taz who was like, oh my God, CM Punk is hurt. He's returned too soon. And JR just goes, no, he just got his ass whooped. But it's so true. I'm like, Moxley just beat the hell out of him. And that's one of my favorite matches with him.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, there's too many. I mean, like there's actually one I was looking at All Out 2022. He was against CM Punk, which I just thought was awesome. I mean, he's had storyline. I mean, I'm just pulling this up again. Yeah, but like he had a great match with Kenny Omega. Whoever he feuds with, there's just so many good matches. The one that obviously sticks out to me is the one against Bryan Danielson, just because he won the title. But there are too many to choose from. And here's the other thing too. I don't think there are many bad matches. No. So you can kind of just like throw a random dart and say, okay, I choose this one. So that's one of those things too. That's another thing that kind of makes a star is, can they have an efficient, can they have a feud with any wrestler and be entertaining? The answer is yes with Mox. So there's so many that stood out. But I don't know if I have one, just because I don't think I remember a bad match.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I was going through them, so that's why I picked this funny one, just because it just made me laugh, because I was like, it was so quick, unexpected. But there's just something about him that I feel like if I was a wrestler and I was in AEW, I would somehow try to like force myself into a feud with Mox, because I feel like anything, even if I get my ass beat, I would be put over in some way. And that's what you're looking for. You're not looking to put yourself just over. It's the other person, and to build the storyline and, whatever feud, or if there is. And I feel like that's something special about him, because when I'm watching Dynamite or Collision, there are times that I do lose interest, but as soon as I hear his music or if I see him on TV, I'm paying attention, because I'm like, what is he going to say? Just even him just walking through the crowd is enough for me to be like, we're ready.
Totally agree. I totally agree with that. And it's just one of those things that, he's entertainment no matter what. Speaking of entertainment, what are some memorable moments of Mox?
I feel like anytime he's on the mic,
yeah, that's actually
you're like, oh my God, what's he gonna do? It's specifically that promo that he made last year for the Death Riders and the new coming of age of AEW, and he's sick of what it is and he's ready for it to go back to where it was. I feel like that is so memorable and so down his lane of I'm a force, I'm a leader, and I will still go back to it. It's just very reminiscent of NWO, and there's just I'm going to say it, Mox just does no wrong in my eyes as someone in the wrestling industry. He's just cool. He's just got that it factor.
Yeah, I will say that too. Memorable moments, that, the declaration of war was, the promo was just absolutely over the top. The other thing too, just coming out and into the stands and just being interactive with the fans and stuff like that. So like there's multiple memorable moments, but yeah, that declaration of war promo really kind of set it off. And I think we said this previously, I think that's part of the reason why all storylines are going to be revolved around Mox, is because he kind of made that declaration and say, hey, you're either with us or against us, very NWOS, as you said before. And I totally agree. But that's what actually definitely steps out to me.
And I think that's one of the smartest things that AEW's done creatively this year, because they've struggled a lot within the past year or two about, who's their champion and where they're going. And they kind of like hot potato the title. And I'm glad that they finalized Mox ending the year and holding it as long as he is and carrying it on to this new year, because I feel like he is such a strong face of the company that's one of the best things that they could have done to really save themselves.
Yeah, and you know what? We're just going to roll into the final thoughts, because that's actually kind of what I was thinking as well. He has a title. Who's going to take it from him? And is anyone actually on the same level as him? Obviously, the answer is yes, but who's it going to be? There's a couple of potential candidates. I'm already going to say Ospreay. I think that would be a very interesting match, because one's a high flyer, Mox is just a brawler.
Yeah.
But that would be a fun angle to do. But that's kind of my final thought, is who's going to actually take it from him? I don't know.
I don't know. And that's really hard, because I feel like they have to be damn good overall to be able to beat him and give us a reason to believe that they're a real champion. I don't feel like he's going to lose it anytime soon. I really don't. He's going to retain. He's probably going to headline a couple of their pay-per-views for a little bit, and he's going to retain. I don't see him losing it anytime soon, but Will is a really good competitor. I can see that. They can see eye to eye. I would love, that would be a nice gritty match. But yeah, we'll see how it goes, but I hope they keep him going strong, so.
Yeah, I'm actually with you on that. Well, that actually wraps up this episode. What are your thoughts on Mox? Please chime in and DM us at the Shoots and Ladders. Like always, please like, share, and subscribe both on YouTube and Spotify. Once again, my name is Jason.
I'm Desiree Josen.
All right, until next time, have a blessed day and a blessed week.
Bye, friends.
Shoots and Ladders. Follow us for more content